Welcome everyone to Serving the Tea with Dan Sky and Enos Williams.
A podcast dedicated to get to know players of the GLTA community.
Please like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you.
On this day, I have the pleasure to interview one of the most extravagant, one of the loudest player, and one of the sweetest personality on our GLTA tour. Please welcome Enos Williams. Hello, and it's a pleasure to have you on our podcast.
Hello, Dan. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here and looking forward to very uncomfortable questions on your end.
Absolutely. We would love you to spill the tea. And without further ado, ready, serve. So let's start from the beginning, from the scratch. Talk us through your tennis journey. When and where did you start playing the sport?
Well, I started playing very unorthodox way, which was just hitting the ball at my parents' backyard. I remember I was somewhere between 8 and 10. And that's how I fell in love with the sport, which for a very long time turned into me just watching the WTA or ATP Grand Slams and following it more or less closely on the TV.
Great. And yeah, talking about beginnings, how did you start and how did you get in GLTA community? When did you start playing the tournaments? Yeah, if you can elaborate a bit more on the story.
Sure. So I bought my first racket. It was the cheapest one from Decathlon. I think it was 2012, 2013 maybe. We did go with my partner at the time to hit some balls on the court. It was not very successful because, as you may know, tennis, I mean, all the GLTA players know, tennis is a really technical game, so you really have to um, learn how to hit the ball within the court to start enjoying the play. So with my partner at the time, it wasn't very successful as we were both really completely unaware of what it takes, how to do it, etc. With time, I did find out about GLTA because close to Krakow, where I used to live back then, there was a very successful tournament in Katowice. So that was actually the first one that I signed up to. And that's where I stepped my foot for the first time within the GLTA community, on the GLTA court. Uh, of course, I got smashed in the first round, losing 6-love, 6-love. So that was it for me. A fantastic first experience.
Well, I would rather say it's a learning experience, and yeah, you made your debut on GLTA tour. And speaking of a community, what is your best memory so far, and what is if you would have to talk to somebody out of a community from the outside? What are the benefits of the GLTA? What do you enjoy the most?
Wow, that's a very complex question. My best memory so far, I guess, would be I mean, there's plenty of very good memories. There's plenty of people I met, there's plenty of friendships I made. I think the warmest still is the tournament in Szczecin where I won my two trophies in singles and doubles in the D division. That was way back in the day, but I remember on a Saturday playing until very, very late in the semifinal, I think, in singles, and then the next day in the final. I do cherish all of my wins and but also all of my failures as they give you option to learn, draw conclusions, and improve yourself in the future. I forgot the second part of your question. Sorry.
Speaking of a community, right? What do you enjoy the most within the community? And if you talk to someone outside, right, that is not part of our community, how would you describe the environment and the benefits of being part of it?
Again, very complex question. I love the community because it's, first of all, you have tournaments that are organized by people that dedicate their own private time to do something, to create safe space for us gay people, LGBTQ community, which is very important. Second of all, because of those tournaments, you have option to travel to various places across the globe, basically. You have the opportunity to meet a lot of people, to socialize with them, to hang out. I've heard that there were relationships that happened during GLTA events. I'm sure that there are relationships that broke up during GLTA events. Um, so it's a very vibrant and very diverse community of people united by the love of tennis. Um, what would I like? How do I describe it? As I said, it's a very diverse and vibrant community of people. Um, the fact that we're joined by either being part of LGBT community or being interested in tennis is only one aspect of each of us. So you can imagine there's I don't know, there's lawyers, there's doctors, there's teachers, there's all the society representation within our community. There's men and women, there's trans people, etc. So we're just like a slice of the globe, actually, with our own representation, joined by the love of tennis and potentially being gay.
Well, thank you for the answer. Yes, indeed. What we would like to say out loud is that GLTA, it's a very open community. Everyone is welcome, and it's not just tennis. Tennis is probably the link that makes us a great community. But other than that, we bond friendship, we celebrate victories, we create memories. So indeed, we're just lucky, and we just hope that the community will grow. And as I mentioned before, everyone is welcome.
And
You mentioned,
we support each other during our losses as well, which is a very important aspect of it.
indeed, you're mentioning about certain professions. We have lawyers, we have accountants, we have flight attendants. So speaking on this subject, what is Anus Williams doing off court?
Well, Anus Williams, of course, doesn't go by Anus Williams, first of all. My name is Maciej, but I've decided to pick this alter ego within the GLTA community. Outside of GLTA, I'm currently working as a project manager in an IT company. I've been doing that. I've been working for this company for 12 years now, being a project manager for a little over 3 years.
Yeah, and also talking about traveling, right? Would you please elaborate a bit behind of what's going on from your own experience, and how one can plan, uh, get into the GLTA community, and also be part of a tournament? Because me myself as a player, I know it takes a lot of time and effort. So I would like to know your point of view on that. How do you manage time wise, financially wise, emotionally wise to play a few tournaments minimum per year?
Of course. As you mentioned, it's all about planning. There's a nice website of GLTA organization that shows you all the dates of the tournaments within a year. So you have to consider the travel costs, which is I think the major aspect of the financial burden of participating in those tournaments. Average fee for the tournament is between 100 and 150, or sometimes even 180 euros per event. So that's not a cheap sport as well. I was very fortunate in the beginning of my, let's call it a career, to be supported by my company. So they would pay my entry fees for all the tournaments. Nowadays, it's one tournament per year, which is still a lot of help. Um, and of course, there's aspect of accommodation coming into place, which I'm very not shy to speak openly about it. I usually either ask my GLTA friends or reach out to my friends outside of GLTA if they can host me. Usually, it's just 3 nights. Most of the time we spend on the court in the venue anyway, so we're not that much of a problem to the hosts. And it's a part of life, as anything else. You can, of course, socialize with them. You can see some friends that you haven't had opportunity to see or visit for a while. So why not use that opportunity and spend the money you would spend on hotel on booze or on fancy dinner for your friends? So that's always an option. Of course, there's an aspect of the holidays because you need to travel to that destination. So you need to plan it according to your work schedule. If you have liberty to work from home or work from anywhere else, that's of course a plus, but no, not everyone can afford that or can have that, let's call it luxury. So yeah, I would say start low or start with a little commitment. Do 1, 2, maybe 3 tournaments spread out over 3 or 4 months of time, and see if you like it or not. And don't do my mistake, sign up to the D level in the beginning.
Oh, that's a great advice. So let's travel a little bit back in time, right? Growing up, and you're coming from a relatively small country, Poland. Who were your idols? Who are you cheering for nowadays? And we would like also to know the story behind your family name or Aka Williams.
Okay. You keep putting too many questions into one, so forgive me if I forget something. Um, Coming out from Poland, yeah, we didn't have that many successes in the tennis field. Of course, there's Aga Radwańska, who did raise to being in the top 10, I guess. Honestly, I'm very bad with those facts, so correct me if I'm wrong.
It's number 2 in the world.
Yeah, well, it's part of top 10 still. So yes, Aga was a very huge impact on me. But before her, I think she's younger than me. So before her, I did root for, major players like Martina Hingis back in the 90s. I loved Amelie Mauresmo, Martina Navratilova, Steffi Graf, uh, of course, the Williams sister, but we'll get there in a minute. So there's plenty of influences, or let's call them celebrities, that I followed before it was called following, that I was a fan of. That's what we used to call it back in the day. From the menses, of course, I still think very fondly of Andre Agassi, who I find not only a great player, a great role model. I read his book and I was very it was a very good read, but also I think he's a very handsome and sexy man, and I kind of wish he was gay. Of course, Pete Sampras, Boris Becker. I did see the Bjorn versus. Oh, I forgot. People will eat me up for this. I did see the movie Bjorn Borg versus that. Dan, help me out here.
Uh, Unfortunately, I don't know. Maybe Stefan Edberg.
No, it was a British guy. Well, whatever. Let's not. I don't want to.
It can be Tim Henman.
No, forget it. He doesn't know as well. Woo. So those kind of people nowadays, I don't want to say I'm not a big fan of anyone's, but I try to sort of support the underdogs or the ones that are not in the top two, let's call them. if you know what I mean. So yeah, those are my influences, let's say. Going back to my family name,
Yes,
um,
and sorry to interrupt.
sure.
Yeah, you mentioned the Williams sisters, so we can't wait to know the story. Is it related why Ines Williams is wearing a skirt on court?
Why are you
Yeah,
answering your own question?
tell us more about.
Well, as you may know, Dan already is sick of that story because he's been hearing it over and over again. Um, so my first tournament was Katowice back in the day, and back then the organizers requested that all the players register to play on behalf of a female WTA famous player to represent. Since it wasn't the first edition, of course, there were some dibs on players made already. So without looking too far or too hard, I realized that Poland, Katowice, probably will not have that much representation within the African American community. So I will go with one of the Williams sisters, basically because of my assets. So I decided to play as Venus. Um, Taking it a little one step further, I've decided to, before the tournament, I've decided to purchase a skirt at a Decathlon store. Back then, I didn't know anything about GLTA. I didn't see anyone playing in a skirt before, so I think it was my own original idea. Of course, there's there's many more now, and I'm very happy that this um, theme or this fashion trend is growing. But I played in a skirt at a practice once, twice. I loved it. I enjoyed it. Um, it felt suiting. It felt comfortable. So I've decided to play in a skirt at Katowice tournament. That was my first tournament, and I did make it to the video. I remember there was a very short clip running around the internet with a bear in a skirt at a tennis court, specifically from Katowice tournament. And after the tournament, I stuck to it. I decided to play in skirts going forward. Dresses are not my best choice or my favorite choice because I don't have the body type for it. I don't feel any dress fits me well. So I don't think I will, but I never say never. So if somebody wants to take measurements and make me a dress that will make me feel comfortable, I'm very open to do it. Thank you, Jorge, for making my skirt for Croatia tournament for yeah, that was in Croatia. But after Katowice and after a few more tournaments, I've decided to go even one step further and called myself Anus, the third Williams sister. It's funny, it's cocky, it's outrageous. I know that some men are ashamed to tell their moms over the phone who they were playing with. I've been there, I've heard that. So it's fun. And always it's an icebreaker if people come over to you and say, "Is your name really Anus?"
Well, thank you for sharing the story. Indeed, it's like a great story, and it screams you. You know, it has everything.
Thank you.
Well, you mentioned that while one can travel and be part of the tournament, you bond with friendships where you feel comfortable to stay at their place. So who are your GLT friends currently? Who are you close to?
There's a lot, and I said it once and I'll say it again. It's like the Oscars, you always forget someone close to your heart. But definitely there's this very shy guy on the other side of the screen called Dan, who is one of my closest friends at the moment. We'll see how that grows. There's the whole Zurich crew, which is very supportive and very nice people. Bradley, Igor, Julio, Ashley. Um, I mentioned Bradley, so I have to mention Samantha, Nick, and a lot of other guys. I really find it supportive being here in Barcelona with my crew from Panteras, which we meet every so often and we play tennis together. Of course, there's a group of people from Poland that I deserted. Artur, Grzegorz, Marek and Tomek and Przemek and all the other people from Poland. Um, there's a few kind hearts from London, from Dublin, from all over the place. So it's really so many to mention that I don't think we have time for that. And I would like to, order them alphabetically, but I just can't.
Well, stepping outside of GLTA, right? We heard about your profession. We know that you're based in Barcelona, but what people don't know are more things about your personality. So, how would you describe Enes William off court?
I don't have a personality.
You
No,
definitely have personalities.
I have multiple, yes. Um, I think I would say most of all, I'm very approachable. I come off as very confident. I come off as cocky, or obnoxious, but that's just a mask or, well, I feel very confident with it. So I wouldn't call it a mask, but it's just one, maybe I'm just two-faced. Maybe that's just one of my faces. The other face is that I'm really approachable. I try to be supportive. I try to be kind to people and friendly. So that's something I would like people to try to remember or see under that bitchy cunt face. But otherwise, I think I'm trying to be a good friend to people who deserve it, and be honest and be reliable.
Right. You mentioned that growing up, you were a big fan of Andre Agassi, but also you mentioned that you have a crush on it, on him. So if we would have to
Yes,
look
is he here? Is he here?
if we would have to look into the GLTA market, right? Would you share with us if you have any crushes on our dear fellow players?
Um, Definitely. There's a lot of hot, sexy guys, and hot and sexy comes in all shapes, sizes, and forms. So, you just pick and choose what your type is, and I'm sure you'll find it at GLTA. Again, as with Oscars and as with friends, there's too many to mention. With me being very open and outspoken, I'm pretty sure the people that I have a crush on already know that and are either disgusted or appalled that I'm even trying to make advances at them. So just be blunt and tell me you're not interested. But yeah, there's a lot of handsome men that I get distracted by when playing during GLTA tournaments.
Well, as we are getting to an end of this interview, I would like to do some quick question, a quiz, where you are allowed to give me a very brief answer.
Okay,
You ready for our last tiebreaker?
let's do it.
Right. So tell us, what's your current favorite song?
Ready for Your Love by Gorgon City.
Favorite color?
Pink.
How odd. Your favorite movie that you recently watched or series?
Um, I didn't watch it recently, but I would say Cruel Intentions. It's a fantastic movie that created my bitchy attitude.
Your best tennis shot?
I would love it to be the smash.
Is it though?
I think the forehand, down the line forehand is though.
Right. And what is your favorite destination for a GLTA tournament?
I have plenty. I do keep Dublin and Zurich close to my heart. But there's a lot of others that I need to still discover and a lot that I would like to go back to.
Right. Top, bottom, versatile, or side?
I would say it depends on the mood. I go between versatile and side.
Great. And the last question, single or partnered?
Dating at the moment.
Nice. And to wrap this episode, I would like to give you the opportunity, if you wish and have a question or multiple questions to ask another GLTA player, please send us an email and we will try to incorporate the question once we have the honor to interview the person.
I definitely will use that opportunity. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your time and thank you for sharing your story and some advices and some of your best memories and spilling the tea at this wonderful podcast.
Thank you for your time and thank you for everybody who listens. Join us next time when we will have a very special guest and we will do a three-way.
Exactly. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Bye.